Hi, my name is Ken Schwartz of Precise Sharpening, and in this second in a series of videos, second video in a series, I'm going to be working on a Moritaka knife, a carbon steel knife, and it was initially sharpened by the customer or a friend of his using a very coarse, presumably either an Atomo 140 or DMT double extra coarse stone with a lot of scratches, some fairly deep scratches. So the initial sharpening primarily for scratch removal and also to put an edge on there was done with this stone, which is the you can see it there. It's the 180 grit Ume or Plum Series stone. So this is the result of that, and let's see if I can get a decent shot of it here. Okay, so you can get a general idea of what it looks like. Obviously, you can still see the scratches, but now we have a differentiation between the soft and the hard steel, the hard being the Hagani, that's the Jigani. That gives you a pretty good idea of what it looks like. So now we're going to continue refining it, and from this point forward we're going to be using natural stones. So the first of these natural stones, and let me zoom out so you can see the whole stone, is a Ohmura. This is a Kyushu Ohmura. Very nice stone. It's a coarser stone. Let me focus a little more precisely on the surface. Alright. And so it's been soaking a little bit. Let me give it another little dunk here. And we'll start going on this one. And here we go. And let's see how it comes out. So compared to the synthetic stones, it's a fair bit smoother actually than the synthetic ones. Very nice effect. Very good follow to use the 180 to precede this. And so let's build up a little mud and start seeing how this finishes. So I'm just going to do this, I believe, on just one side so we can compare and contrast it to the previous finish. And you can see that it's not a particularly muddy stone, but you can start seeing some of the metal swarf coming off on there. Alright, so we're starting to get removal of the previous scratch pattern, getting some nice contrast. And I'm going to keep going a little while longer on this and see how things develop. I'm using a fairly firm pressure at the moment. Not extremely firm, but fairly firm. Although I shouldn't compare it to the synthetic Ohmura. It seems to be smoother. The synthetic Ohmuras are rated at 150 grit. This seems to produce finer finish, which is in line with using this as a follow-up to the 180 grit ume stone. Seems like it's going to be a very nice combination to work the two in sequence. Okay, let's see how this is looking. Okay, so this is doing a very nice job removing the previous scratch pattern. It's starting to bring out a bit more contrast as well. Let's keep going and seeing how it develops. Let's see if I can get a good picture angle there. Okay, let's keep going for it a little while longer here. And although I don't tend to soak stones permanently, this stone is supposed to be able to be used as pretty much of a permanent soaker. I have seen larger pieces of this being used as a base in a tank to put other stones on, and to use it also for doing some flattening and some surface texturing on other natural stones. So useful in that regard. I'm going to ease up on the pressure just a little bit. Okay, let's see how this is shaping up. Okay. So, very nice contrast. Let me dry it off so you can see it dry as well. And we can see that compared to the previous stone, a fairly significant reduction in the coarseness of the scratch pattern. Good contrast. And we'll still continue to refine this a bit, but very nice. There's some areas like up here that haven't really quite gotten their fair share of grind yet. But it's very nice, nice edge, and we'll continue to go with this, and then I'll show you the results before we start the next stone. Thanks again for your attention. Ken Schwartz from Precise Sharpening. Just wanted to do a little continuation on the Ohmura stone and report that quite pleasantly surprised with the finish that I'm getting from it. And one of the things that I did was to give it a few strokes with the 140 Atoma to build up a little bit more mud. And this mud is just superb. It's been breaking down rather nicely, and I'm getting a finish on this, a very nice Kasumi finish that was quite unexpected for a stone this coarse. I don't know if we can quite see the scratch pattern perfectly on this, but just a really beautiful finish. Let's see if I can get the focus on this just right. Okay. So let me take a little of this mud off. And we can see, yeah, pretty well. A little more light. And you can see that essentially the visible scratch pattern, those coarser scratches, is essentially completely taken care of. Very pleased with this. You can see it on the other side as well. Very nice creamy mud. Again, surprisingly nice finish for a coarse stone. And basically the mud refines itself, I would say pretty much in the extreme. Because it's doing so well, I'm going to skip the Amakusa, and the next stone that I go to will be the Tajima stone. Again, very nice finish. Let me wipe this thing off a little bit so you can get a better idea of the finish. Quite impressed with it. And quite surprised. I was pegging this as a much coarser stone, but it does refine itself to work quite nicely. Let's see if I can get this in just a little better focus. There. So, high contrast. Nice scratch pattern on the soft cladding, and we're ready to go on for a little further refinement on this. Quite pleased. Thank you again, we'll continue on.